today's fast-paced society, it is sometimes very easy to get caught up in the plethora of environmental criticisms that is delivered almost on a daily basis. The importance and use of the nation's forest is no exception, and its contributions to our nation's economy and social well-being is under constant debate. As with the nation, Texas forests are also constantly scrutinized. Texas is used as the example of current trends throughout this exercise. If we just consider the eastern one-third of the state, Texas is still one of the largest rural states and also one of the fastest urbanizing states in the country. The issues presented here are pertinent to the South as well as in many other regions of the country. The economic foundation of Texas has historically been based upon farming, ranching, and especially timber commodities, all produced from the state's vast acreage. These working lands today make up 84% of the state, producing agricultural and timber products, wildlife habitat, recreational opportunities, clean air, and water. All these commodities are important to the livelihood of rural economies. And Texas forestry has a rich heritage full of traditions and legends. Yet it is being threatened by a single issue, that of land use conversion. Now, Forest Fragmentation Training Module. This is one of several training modules developed by the Community Tree Management Institute and made available online from cfegroup.org. Fragmentation. It is a commonplace to hear these terms today, and it is also very easy to become emotionally tied to the rhetoric bound to these terms without fully understanding their basic concepts and consequences. Let's start by discussing how the landscape is changing in Texas and other states. In doing so, we will define specific terms and concepts. This is an important step because these terms are frequently used incorrectly and inappropriately during discussions, even among professional forest managers. For example, I was attending a professional roundtable meeting the other night. Present were foresters representing all aspects of the discipline. I was very disheartened and concerned by the fact that they were even using the term forestry incorrectly. Oftentimes what they meant was timber management, which is only one part of forestry or forest management. Others include wildlife, recreation, water, and air, and other beneficial components that have real economic value and perhaps priceless intrinsic value. More alarming, however, is the misuse of terms and concepts by professionals when speaking with homeowners and landowners. Care should be taken to be literal. Now, this might seem to be a bit fastidious, but the misuse of terms, whether accidental or intentional, often leads to negative public opinion and strong opposition to the wise use of our forest resources. There is no doubt that rural, urban, and community forest management is a complex process. There are always many factors to consider in sustainable forest management, and there is no single remedy that can be widely applied across the forest landscape. I certainly don't have all the answers, nor do I know of anybody who does. But hopefully, though, with this training module, you will have a better understanding of the subject matter and begin to formulate management goals and guidelines that reflect real issues and real needs. Let's take a glance at the ecological regions in Texas. As you probably already know, land use varies from ecological regions because of difference in geology, soil, climate, rainfall, and water availability in those regions. The easternmost part of Texas is often called the Piney Woods. This region of East Texas covers 43 counties and 22 million acres of land. That is approximately the same size of all of Indiana or all of Maine or all of South Carolina. Not all of East Texas is forested, however, and only about 12 million acres in East Texas is designated as commercial quality timberland. Now that's just a little less than the state of West Virginia. The current value of timber alone in this region is huge, and the potential value is even greater. Perhaps more importantly, however, is a significant degree for which healthy forests contribute to the social well-being of Texans. Yet the sustainable management of forest products, that is, timber, water, and recreation, and the environmental necessities they provide, air, water, soil protection, from these lands is largely threatened by changing land use patterns. Terms that we hear a great deal when addressing the changing land patterns and forest management decline include forest fragmentation, land fragmentation, and range fragmentation. We hear that word fragmentation a great deal, but what does forest fragmentation mean to you? Does it conjure images of urban sprawl, or perhaps images of forest tracts being sliced into smaller and smaller ownerships? That would be a more correct definition. Other terms include parcelization. It's a term that's interchangeable with fragmentation. Still other terms include land use conversion, urbanization, sprawl, and forest remnants. What is forest fragmentation? What is it really? Well, fragmentation is the steady trend towards dividing lands into smaller acreage parcels. Parcelization is a synonym for the true definition of fragmentation. Although urbanization might be a significant cause of fragmentation, not all forest fragmentation is due to urban sprawl. In addition, fragmentation does not necessarily lead to the loss of forest land. This term simply implies that land is being divided into smaller units due to changing ownerships. Even though the forest land base is stable, that is, we're not really losing forests, forest fragmentation is making it more and more difficult to meet the multiple demands of our society.